Have you ever wondered what would happen when one of humanity's most magnificent dreams begins to crack from within? Not long ago, we still referred to Dubai Mall as an untouchable cathedral of modern consumerism, welcoming more than 105 million visitors each year, a number that would make even the most famous destinations in the United States envious. It was once a place where luxury had no limits and money flowed across gleaming marble floors. When we talk about collapse here, it may not be the destruction of walls or massive glass structures. Instead, we are witnessing the demise of an economic model, the mega mall model, once praised by tycoons as immortal. Could it be that the era of flashy icons built on massive scale is gradually fading away, leaving behind a big question about the future of empires built on sand? Let's dive deeper into this story in today's video. People can promote the figure of more than 100 million visitors to polish their image, but you probably already know. Visitors do not mean buyers. Reality is showing a remarkable evaporation of revenue, about 30% in just the past 18 months. Especially at Fashion Avenue, once a playground for the upper-class revenue in early 2026, is reported to have dropped by as much as 45–50%. The era, when people were willing to splurge on luxury items from Tiffany & Co. or Swiss watch brands, is gradually giving way to a harsher reality. The average transaction value has dropped sharply from about $115 to just $76. It seems that instead of opening their wallets, people are choosing showrooming, going into stores to look, trying things on for fit, then quietly going home to place orders online to hunt for discount codes. Is there anything more absurd than trying to maintain a massive block of ice or a 10 million-liter aquarium in the scorching desert heat? You might find it interesting that to keep the temperature at 70 degrees Fahrenheit across 5.4 million square feet, an enormous amount of electricity is required, even as outdoor temperatures frequently exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. These 24/7 LED advertising systems and massive air conditioning units are not cheap. And as actual shoppers become increasingly scarce, those operating costs suddenly turn into a bottomless pit. You can cut staff, but you cannot tell the cooling system to stop running or let the aquarium fish swim on their own without a filtration system. That is a fixed cost trap that even the most optimistic managers struggle with. If you are someone who believes in the value of accumulation and financial discipline, you might not be surprised to learn that Emaar Properties is reportedly carrying debt of up to $7.6 billion. In a context where global interest rates remain high, servicing this debt seems to be eroding all net profits. Even shareholders of luxury conglomerates like LVMH or Richemont are beginning to feel the chill from financial reports. As operating cash flow declines, the risk of credit rating downgrades is no longer a distant shadow but has already appeared on the 2026 balance sheet. Perhaps expensive cocktails at upscale steakhouses are no longer enough to blur the increasingly large red numbers. Have you ever wondered why corridors once reserved for the ultra-wealthy are now missing groups of whales, bulk buyers, from Russia or China? It seems that regional conflicts and banking barriers have caused cash flow from this group to drop by more than 60%. In addition, issues in the Strait of Hormuz are pushing logistics costs to unreasonable levels. Each shipment of luxury goods from American or European brands arriving here may incur tens of thousands of dollars in additional surcharges. For a struggling store, that is nothing short of a finishing blow. There is something quite ironic about a shopping empire that depends so heavily on the wallets of Chinese tourists now witnessing a drop of up to 48% in visitors from that country. Shaking skyscrapers in Shanghai are enough to rattle boutiques in Dubai. When massive real estate conglomerates in their home country collapse, a tightening the belt mindset has likely become the new fashion trend instead of expensive handbags. While Dubai is still trying to light up dazzling LED displays to attract them, authorities in Beijing have created a luxury fortress right on Hainan Island. With domestic duty-free limits of up to $15,000, one has to wonder why spend 8 hours flying to the Middle East when you can buy an Apple product or a high-end watch right at home. It seems that giants like LVMH or Hermes have also begun to realize this, quietly shifting focus to flagship stores in Hainan, leaving Dubai Mall, waiting for customers who may never come. There was a time when Dubai was seen as a lifeline for Russian capital. But in 2026, as international financial institutions tighten restrictions, swiping a bank card here is as difficult as finding a drop of water in the desert. Pressure from strict asset inspections has made Russian elites feel that Dubai is no longer the safe and discreet haven they once believed it to be. In addition, the cost of living in areas like Palm Jumeirah has surged by 30–50% in just the past 2 years, likely causing even the wealthiest individuals to frown. As the ruble continues to depreciate against the dirham, which is pegged to the strong US dollar, Dubai seems to have lost its label as the last affordable option. While we are comfortable with the strength of the greenback, for Dubai, pegging the dirham to the USD is becoming a curse. With the Fed maintaining high interest rates, goods at Dubai Mall suddenly become unreasonably expensive for tourists using euros or British pounds. Imagine a gentleman from London who, instead of flying to Dubai, now simply takes a train to Paris or Milan to buy the same luxury item at 15–20% lower prices. Why shop in the desert when you can enjoy VAT refunds in Europe and a much more favorable exchange rate? At the same time, reports are pointing to a shift in the travel map. European tourists appear to be rerouting to safer and more stable destinations like Spain or Greece to avoid geopolitical instability in the Middle East. The result? A drop in visitor numbers of 30% to 45% at major centers like Dubai Mall and Mall of the Emirates during peak seasons in early 2026. If you walk into high-end fashion stores today, what you see may not be $1,000 transactions, but employees standing around in a quiet space. People are still flocking here, yes, but their only purpose is to prove to the world that I've been here. You will see crowded corridors surrounding the Dubai fountain or people standing to look for free at the giant aquarium glass. Yet, the moment you step past the threshold of luxury flagship stores, you enter a strangely silent space. We are witnessing a new generation of consumers, professional spectators. They can spend hours posing next to collections from Tiffany & Co. or luxury watch brands, but only to get a million-like photo. For them, the value of a trip lies in their phone's memory rather than in branded shopping bags in their hands. If you believe in real value and numbers that speak for themselves, you may find it interesting that the average spending index here has fallen sharply from $115 to just $76. A 33% drop in retail is not just a number, it is a collapse of the upper-middle-class customer segment, those once considered the backbone of revenue. Current reality shows that most bills at Dubai Mall revolve around coffee or fast food. Luxury stores that once stood proudly now seem to be acting as free museums for visitors who come to look and then quietly leave without contributing a single dollar to revenue. What is unfortunate for Emaar management is that they are providing free Wi-Fi for customers to betray them. Imagine a customer walking into a Nike, Apple, or Ralph Lauren store, spending the entire afternoon picking items up and putting them down, trying sizes, and carefully checking materials. But the moment they find something they like, instead of going to the cashier, they pull out their phone. With just a few taps, they find the exact same item on Amazon or other online platforms at 20–30% lower prices thanks to vouchers and cashback policies that physical stores can never match. Dubai Mall, with all its grandeur, appears to be unintentionally becoming a massive fitting room for e-commerce giants. The result? The conversion rate has hit rock bottom. Sales staff in elegant suits spend hours advising customers only to receive a head shake and, let me think about it. Sales per square foot decline, while staffing and operational costs must still be maintained at 5-star levels to preserve the image. You can see a new trend quietly emerging. Major brands are beginning to pull out. Instead of expensive 1,000-square-meter spaces, they are shifting to more compact experience centers or seasonal pop-up stores to cut costs. After all the dazzling lights and world records, Dubai Mall is facing a harsh reality. You can build the most beautiful place in the world for people to visit, but you cannot make them open their wallets when their personal ego has already been satisfied with a single post button. You might feel a bit confused when you see drywall panels with vibrant graphics appearing more and more frequently in prime locations. Management is trying to use art to cover up a less optimistic reality. About 11% of the floor space equivalent to more than 130 retail units is currently dark and sealed off. The long-term lease model of 5–10 years, once a symbol of stability, is gradually being replaced by temporary pop-up stores. For those who believe in sustainable value, seeing these short-term shops emerge is a sign that the commercial real estate value of Emaar properties is being eroded. When the strategic collateral backing $7.6 billion in debt begins to weaken, can their market capitalization remain as solid as it appears? Even names once considered resilient, like Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein, are struggling with cost pressures. As revenue at golden locations drops by an average of 25–30% year over year, paying sky-high rent is no longer a smart strategy. While European brands like Roberto Cavalli quietly exit, parent groups such as LVMH and Kering are busy reallocating capital to emerging markets like Riyadh, where luxury revenue is projected to grow 15% next year, instead of waiting in an increasingly saturated Dubai. Major brands are beginning to lose confidence as actual shopping traffic at Fashion Avenue is reported to have dropped by as much as 40% on weekdays. They are demanding rent renegotiations based on revenue percentages rather than fixed per square meter rates that management insists on maintaining to beautify financial reports. Many believe MR is falling into a state of desperation, offering rent relief policies or subsidizing up to 20% of marketing costs to prevent anchor tenants from leaving. Allowing stores to close earlier at 8 p.m. instead of 10 p.m., as before, is a painful concession that shows the giant is no longer in its former position. Why spend hours just to find a parking spot when platforms like Farfetch or Net-a-Porter offer a broader product selection than any physical store, along with home return policies that even the best in-mall customer service can hardly match? If you believe in the value of in-person experience, you might feel disappointed when looking at the behavior of young consumers in the Middle East today. Data shows an alarming decline. Transactions over $500 from customers under 35 at malls have dropped by as much as 29%. For them, malls are no longer places to shop, but merely vibrant backdrops for social media photos. They may spend hours at upscale cafes enjoying a latte, but when it comes to buying a shirt from Zara or a product from H&M, they prefer tapping their phone screens rather than lining up at the cashier. Shopping on the sofa, entertainment on site. This seems to be the new slogan pushing Dubai Mall into a difficult position. Moreover, American icons like Nike and Apple are leading a revolution known as D2C, direct-to-consumer. They have realized that paying exorbitant rent to Emaar is not an efficient investment. When major brands can fully control customer data and brand experience through their official websites, the role of Dubai Mall is suddenly downgraded to an extremely expensive static billboard. Why share profits with a mall operator when that money could be reinvested into delivery systems and after-sales services? It seems that online return on investment, ROI, is telling a story that mall management does not want to hear. The result? A painful decline in revenue per square meter. It appears that in-store sales are no longer enough to cover premium retail space costs, as cash flow is being redirected straight into the pockets of e-commerce giants. Financial reports in 2026 are sending a clear message to investors. The era of luxury retail real estate may be fading, giving way to distribution centers and smart warehouses. Instead of pouring capital into glossy corridors, money is being directed to areas like Al Maktoum to build logistics empires. At a certain level, luxury is not about owning the largest shopping mall, but about not having to walk too much. Dubai Mall, with its enormous size, is unintentionally turning itself into a nightmare for the local elite. They are quietly leaving the crowded, tourist-filled corridors to move toward places like Dubai Hills, Mall, or City Walk. Why squeeze through crowds when you can park your luxury car right next to a store and take just a few steps to reach concept stores tailored to your refined taste? When an icon begins to prioritize visitor volume over service quality, it has effectively signed its own sentence to lose its true anchor clients. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 strategy is not just an economic plan, it is a full-scale offensive against Dubai's position. With projects like Via Riyadh, they are sending a clear message. Why bring $20 billion to Dubai every year when you can enjoy even higher-end luxury right in your own capital? When iconic American names like Tiffany & Co. or Harry Winston begin considering shifting resources to limited collections in Saudi Arabia instead of Dubai, you can sense where the balance of power is tilting. Dubai Mall is facing a problem that money cannot immediately fix, a lack of cultural depth. While Saudi Arabia is skillfully embedding luxury into historical values at Diriyah Gate, Dubai Mall remains just a polished block of concrete and glass. The fragmentation of the luxury market is splitting the spending power of the ultra-wealthy. A 25% drop in visitors from Saudi Arabia during peak seasons is only the tip of the iceberg. When these neighboring customers lose interest, Dubai Mall suddenly feels strangely empty in corridors once reserved for them. Do you think a business can thrive when operating costs surge just to chase competitors? To avoid falling behind mega projects like the Muqab, Dubai Mall is pouring millions more into marketing and cutting rental prices to retain brands. The result? Net profit margins are being eroded by the very efforts to maintain outdated prestige. The migration of professionals and large capital flows to Riyadh is turning Dubai Mall into a dazzling showroom without real deals. As a consumer, you already understand that what defines a premium shopping experience is not gold-plated walls, but the people providing the service. Yet management here is implementing a strange tightening-the-belt policy, cutting salaries and commission structures for their best sales staff. Can you imagine it? Personal shoppers, those who hold contact lists of the global ultra-wealthy, are quietly moving to Saudi Arabia or smaller concept stores. When experienced consultants with 10-15 years leave, they are replaced by less experienced staff who may not even distinguish between high-end product lines from brands like Dior. Is the shopping experience here becoming surprisingly industrialized and lifeless? If you value time and attentiveness, you might feel frustrated to learn that premium services such as internal golf cart, transport, or porter teams helping carry purchases are being cut without hesitation. Even valet parking services are reported to be frequently overloaded and delayed. For high-end customers who are extremely demanding, not being recognized and specially cared for is a silent insult. Customer surveys in 2026 are recording a harsh reality. The willingness to return index among high-spending clients has dropped sharply. Complaints seem to be spreading within elite private circles, creating a quiet boycott that no marketing campaign can fix. Perhaps the clearest sign of a crisis is when people start saving electricity. In a place where outdoor temperatures can melt asphalt, raising air conditioning temperatures above standard levels is a fatal mistake. Would you want to shop for an expensive watch or a suit from Brooks Brothers in a hot, dimly lit environment? Turning off escalators in low-traffic areas and dimming decorative lighting systems are sending an unspoken yet haunting message. Cash flow is drying up. The contrast between glossy social media imagery and the somewhat run-down operational reality inside is shaking the confidence of even the most rational investors. There was a time when a floor area of up to 12 million square feet, equivalent to more than 50 standard American football fields, was the pride of the desert. But in 2026, the philosophy of bigger is better is backfiring disastrously. Do you really want to spend an entire afternoon just trying to find your way out of a maze of glass and steel 3 times larger than Mall of America? When the number of stores exceeds 1,300 units, diversity suddenly turns into monotonous repetition. People begin to notice a strange similarity among megamalls. The sense of discovery is suffocated by excess. And when the operating cost of that massive structure consuming enough electricity to power a small city is inversely proportional to customer satisfaction, then a 20% drop in revenue per square foot becomes an inevitable outcome. Think about long-established shopping centers in Europe, or the culturally rich retail districts that neighboring Saudi Arabia is striving to build. Those places have stories, they have cultural depth. But here? Dubai Mall is just a giant air-conditioned cage, clean and polished, yet carrying a chilling sense of sterility. The technical term for this is non-place. For customers seeking meaning behind every item they buy, Dubai Mall is merely a temporary display product, lacking the real flow of urban life. Can you truly connect with a place that feels overwhelmingly artificial, where even the air you breathe is filtered through miles of steel ducts? Dubai Mall is facing a new generation of consumers, those who are tired of showing off status through branded shopping bags from a mass luxury supermarket. Recent surveys show that more than 60% of young consumers prioritize values like craftsmanship or brand ethics over outward glamour. Sustainable American icons like Patagonia and minimalist lifestyles are gradually replacing ostentatious consumption habits. The backlash against the enormous energy waste, something that sustains Dubai Mall, is creating a sense of guilt among modern consumers. When shopping is no longer a way to assert identity, but instead becomes something off-putting, business models built on display and excess start to feel as outdated as gas-guzzling cars from past decades. Dubai Mall is standing at a harsh crossroads. It is forced to choose: either evolve decisively into a true experiential center where intangible value is placed above material goods, or accept its fate as a massive relic, a testament to an old era filled with excess. The era of mega shopping malls is coming to an end, giving way to more authentic and personalized values. Do you think Dubai will be agile enough to find a new cash cow to sustain this dream of luxury? Or are we truly witnessing the end of the era of glass and steel giants around the world? Perhaps you will agree that this analysis is not intended to play the role of a fortune teller to predict the exact date and time of a global meltdown. Instead, consider this a much-needed wake-up call. a realistic look at the systemic geopolitical risks that glossy investment brochures always seem to conveniently find a way to ignore. It seems that in the world of numbers, the truth often lies in the silences between empty corridors, rather than in the promises of eternal prosperity. Thank you for patiently staying with us until the very end, and perhaps we will meet again soon to unpack other truths in the next video.